You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Basically, Syracuse basketball in regulation, they blew a 5-point lead with 20 seconds to go. In the second overtime, Boston College had a 7-point lead with 2 minutes to go. Both teams tried to lose this game, but at the end of the day, the Orange are the ones standing on top with the 95-86 win. And as ugly as it was, as much at some point I tweeted out at @LO_Syracuse, could both teams just be relegated? You know the Premier League, right? If you finish at a certain level, you finish too low in the league, you get relegated to whatever the second league is in England. I don't know what it is. I'm not a huge soccer nut. I just know that relegation exists in European soccer. That's what I was honestly thinking about. I mean, can they put Syracuse and Boston College in the Horizon League now? That's neither here nor there. So I'm sorry that the Horizon League of all leagues is catching strays here on Locked On Syracuse. Regardless, neither team is leaving the ACC, despite how bad that game was in terms of quality of play. So, with that being said, this was a really important win for Syracuse basketball. Super duper important. I don't want to say that this puts the Orange into the ACC tournament because you never know. You never know, right? There's still plenty of games to go. But this was really important. Now Syracuse basketball is 2-0 against Boston College this season. They have the tiebreaker over Boston College in the event that those two end up tying, which I don't know if they will. So looking at the ACC standings, the Orange are now 5-8 in the conference, and they are no longer the last team in. That's right. They moved up a couple of spots. Virginia's at 4-8 at the time of this recording. Notre Dame is at 4-8 at the time of this recording. Boston College is now 2-10 in the ACC, and Syracuse is 5-8. So they are 2.5 games ahead of Boston College. They are also 2.5 games up, or maybe 3 games up on NC State as the last team out, or first team out, I should say. Right. That's huge. That is massive. I talked about how, look, they were not going to beat Duke. They were not going to beat Duke, no matter what. But getting that Cal win was super important because they needed a little bit more margin for error for these next couple of games, which we just completed the first of the two, which is Syracuse beating Boston College, one of the bottom feeders in the ACC. And next up on Tuesday in Miami to take on the Miami Hurricanes. I don't know if you've caught wind of Miami this season. They are not a very good basketball team. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Syracuse basketball is a lock to win the game because they are certainly not. But getting this win, combined with the Cal win last week, gives the Orange a lot more margin for error. They have 5 conference wins. How many more do they actually need to put themselves in the ACC tournament? Not many. And by the way, some of the other bottom feeders in the ACC, the Orange, will still have the opportunity to play them in the event something goes really wrong, right? They're going to play Miami on Tuesday. Hopefully they win that game. You get to 6 conference games. But they will play NC State at home on February 26th. And then if they can't beat NC State or Miami, and for some reason Syracuse basketball might not make the conference tournament, well, they could have one more final chance in the final game of the regular season at home against Virginia. That's on March 8th. This was a huge win. They absolutely had to have this game. It was not must win, but if they had lost to Boston College, I would have said that at Miami is a must-win game, because when I look at the schedule for Syracuse, I don't think they're going to beat Carolina at home on February 15th. I do not think they're going to go to Pittsburgh and win on February 18th. At Virginia Tech, Virginia Tech's not a great team, but that's a road game. You can't say that Syracuse is going to win that one. They could win it, but probably not. At SMU is probably a loss as well. So this was really important. You got to beat the bottom feeders in the conference to make the ACC tournament. And that leads us all back to what the goal was for this season once we got to like December, because we knew that this team wasn't very good. And that is make the ACC tournament, be as high of a seed as possible, preferably be top 9, but just get in the conference tournament. Avoid that embarrassment. Avoid it. And it was big. They got this win. We can all breathe a little sigh of relief. My goodness, I'm still recovering from it. By the way, I actually went to the game, so I witnessed this game in person. Oh boy. I picked a good one to go to. This is my first basketball game of the season. If you were also at the game, leave a comment in the comment section below. If you have any thoughts on this game as well, leave a comment in the comment section below here. I'd be happy to respond to you all after this. But it was important, as ugly as the game was. And it's important that we don't lose sight of that they get their 5th conference win and you beat Miami and get to 6. It's going to be hard to actually miss the conference tournament.